Hi, this is Lynn Widmeyer coming to you from Jefferson County, West Virginia, and today I'm visiting with Jeni Walker, who is the founder and owner of Westvirjeni Flowers. Now that spring is here, I thought I would get some tips from Jeni about what are some easy to care plantings for your garden, flower-wise. Let me just state, I am not a gardener, but I do love to look out in my garden
and have flowers
and see flowers. So today, Jeni has graciously agreed to give us some tips. But before we get into that, just tell us briefly, how did you end up in West Virginia and how did you end up with this wonderful flower biz?
Okay, well, I came to West Virginia in 1998 as a freshman at Shepherd College, and it was back when it was Shepherd College, not university. So
back in the day.
Yes, and I fell in love with Shepherdstown in the area, and I am here to this day. So I grew up in Middletown, Maryland, so not too far away from here, and I started Westvirjeni in 2013 as more of a hobby business. I've always loved gardening. My mother and my grandfather were extensive perennial gardeners, and my father was always into having a vegetable garden. So I grew up loving the garden.
So you got the genes. You got the green genes.
Yes, yes. And I was put to work at a very young age in the gardens and hanging out with my mom while she was, so I learned a lot, and I always asked questions and was very interested in it. I did never like the work and the weeding part, but I loved, like you said, the pretty part. But it's all part of the process. So.
And I can attest to your flair for design and flowers, because you did the wedding for my son a couple of years ago at the farm, and spectacular.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it was a beautiful day.
Now, you own this business with your husband, who is a West Virginia native.
Yes, he grew up in Martinsburg and went to Martinsburg High School and then West Virginia University. And we met, back in college. And we got married 4 years ago. And
did you do the flowers for your wedding?
I did, along with my great, amazing crew, and a lot of my friends helped.
I bet it was pretty special. I have read a lot about being a person of a certain age, that of course gardening is very popular for older folks like me. And in fact, it's just grown by leaps and bounds, generally because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But as we talked about, I love to see the flowers. I don't necessarily like to weed the flowers. So I just thought maybe you could give us some tips on what are some flowers that are easy to raise as we get into spring.
Okay, well, there are lots of flowers that are native perennials to this area or spring perennials. So a perennial flower garden is very nice to have, kind of like as the bones of everything, and then you can plant annuals. So phlox are very easy to grow in this area. Tulips, daffodils, they require a little bit of work, and then you wait and watch. So, and then from an annual, and peonies are a fairly easy flower to grow.
That is one staple we have in our garden, because of course we live on a farm that was been in the family for generations, and my husband's grandmother planted peonies.
Yes.
And they are wonderful because they come back every year.
And that's the great thing about perennials, is they come back every year. The thing is, they only bloom for a certain time. But peonies are very easy, and then you can really mow them down afterwards and then just wait for them to come back. Our large peony bed was established by Mr. and Mrs. Putz, who originally owned this place, and then when we moved here, we added about 40 or so more, and we have them just in the yard, and we let them grow and we harvest them, and then in about around June, after they kind of start to peter out, then we just mow over them and wait till they come back the next year. So there's no weeding involved, and that makes it real easy and simple.
And I have heard, and maybe you can tell me if this is true, that if you put peonies in the refrigerator, they last longer?
Yes, if you cut them at the right stage, kind of when they're about a marshmallow size, and just a little bit starting to get a little soft, you can wrap them in some damp paper towels or paper, put them in a cold, dark area, and you can let them go for about a month, and then you snip them.
Whoa.
And you put them in water, and you let them hydrate, and they will open up. It's amazing. Doesn't always work, but it works a lot of the time.
Well, what are some other flowers that are easy like peonies?
Okay, so then when we get into like a little closer to the summer and like Mother's Day-ish time, we start planting annual seeds. So there are some very easy to grow annual seeds. And then I also have some tips and tricks to make it even easier for someone.
Let's hear them.
Yes, so zinnias are very easy to grow from seed. Celosia, amaranthus, buying dahlia tubers. Those are all great things to grow on an annual basis. And some of my tips and tricks are to eliminate the weeding and the working, is to put some sort of weed barrier down. Here we put cardboard down because we have umpteen boxes that our flowers come in every week. And instead of saving it and taking it to Halltown, which you can't
is
even
now
anymore,
closed, so this is a great tip.
Yes, it is. We save our cardboard and we place double and triple layers of cardboard down, and then we mulch in between the rows, and then we also use landscaping fabric and burn holes in it, and then plant our either little seedlings or direct seed right into the ground, so that then there's much less surface area for weeds to grow.
That is a great tip.
Yes, and then the other thing I think that is helpful for someone like me, and I'm sure as you age, is you don't want to be bending over and putting all that stress on your back.
I hear you, sister.
So to create raised beds that are at maybe waist level or even a little bit higher, that is a perfect place to plant these. And there are some really cool ones that they make prefabricated at some of the local places, or like the box shops that you can buy and have them, so that when you do have to weed or harvest, it's right at waist level instead of having to bend
That's
down.
very important, because I have reached the stage in life where, you get down and you start bending, and then
it's hard to get back up.
and
I
you have to get
completely
back
understand.
up. And when people go out and buy the flowers and stuff, I mean, is it important where you get them, or can you just buy them locally here in the county? Or
I think I always like to try and buy from the local places as much as I can. So at this time of the year, there are all sorts of farms that have starts at the farmers market. We love going to Potomac Farms in Shepherdstown, or Meadows Farms up the street. And then of course the box stores always have different plants as well, but I like to try and get from local if I can. I think it depends on what types of plants you want to, if you're into organic gardening.
Easy plants.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I did a little research and checked on your web, and tell us a little bit about these workshops you offer, which I think are so interesting.
Okay, yeah, so we offer our community all sorts of different floral kind of themed workshops. So we had one not too long ago that was working with foliage and how to make the foliage last for a long time, and what different foliages to buy, and manipulating that.
Now, if people are interested in this, of course, you have a website.
Yep, we
and
do,
we'll
and
put
we
that
have a
up.
calendar on the website. We have all sorts of fun upcoming ones that usually have to do with the season and what flowers are blooming, all the way through to Christmas and wreaths and you name it. And we also have our 6th annual Summer Solstice fundraiser coming up. That's a big event that we chair every year, and so that's another fun
I'm going to that this year,
involvement
by
type
Joe.
thing.
I have heard about it from so many people, and we'll put the information
Awesome.
up on
That'd be
this, so
great.
people, because
That'd
that
be
sounds
great.
like fun.
Yes, it is. And it's June 17th here at the farm from 5:30 to 9:30. There's live music, there'll be food, there are all sorts of different ticket options and sponsorship options, and all of the proceeds from it are donated to Breast Cancer Awareness Cumberland Valley. So
And this is an annual event, so even though you might miss it this year.
Yep, it's always the Saturday surrounding the summer solstice.
Well, thank you so much for
thank you
sharing
for coming out.
these tips, and I'm going to put them in place in my garden.
Okay.
And it's just a beautiful location here.
Thank you.
And thank you again so much.
You're welcome. It was great to chat today.
Hi, this is Lynn Widmeyer. If you've been enjoying my videos, I'd appreciate you pressing the like button, leaving a comment, and then subscribe to get future videos by email. This all really helps grow my viewership. Thanks for watching.